Hello.
Hello. So we moved to Chicago about 2 years ago, and there were a few things that surprised us once we got here. So we're going to talk about 5 things that we wish we'd just maybe known a little more about before we moved here.
So the first thing we're going to talk about is clothing and shoes.
Yes. I was flabbergasted by how many shoes I would need living in Chicago and clothes in general. I had to beef up my wardrobe and especially my shoes. I've always been a person who kind of got by with 5 or 6 pairs of shoes and was real proud of that, honestly. But living here, you need so many different shoes for different occasions. And I don't mean dressy versus not. I mean rain, snow, that kind of thing. Sandals for the summer, that type of stuff.
One thing also too is you kind of tend to go through shoes a lot quicker. Before, when we were living in in Kentucky, I could have a shoe probably last 3 to 4 years, and then I find now that I'm going through them probably once a year.
Yeah.
Which
so much walking.
They kind of get dirty and the bottoms get wore out because there's a lot of concrete. But I will say that that's good for me because I like buying shoes, so it's just more that I get to purchase.
I do not like buying shoes. It's a bit of a disappointment.
The roles are definitely flipped in this relationship. I was always the one that had way more shoes and you had 2 or 3.
Yeah, now we both just have a lot of shoes. So also clothes, and I think most specifically jackets. And that is because previously I was the champion of running to my car in whatever I was wearing as quickly as possible, no matter the temperature, and just cranking up the heat when I got there. And you can't do that here. You actually do have to wear jackets, and you need jackets for different, levels of temperature. So.
Well, and definitely fluctuations throughout the week, yesterday you wear a little denim jacket, and then maybe tomorrow you might wear your winter parka, right? Because it's
you never know what you're gonna get.
You never know what you're gonna get. So it's definitely something you want to think about. You want to make sure that you're also layering heavily in the winter, and then
thermals are really important. Something that I never used to kind of keep on hand.
You also kind of want to think too about how easy it is to take on and off, because going in those restaurants or shopping and stuff, you're going to have to delayer because the heat is obviously on inside, and you're doing a lot more walking and maybe even standing in line. So when we go to the theater, maybe before, you can kind of just get out of your car, go right in. You don't have to really worry about that. But here in the city, you may be going...
You might have a 20-minute walk.
Yeah, so and then you're kind of waiting in line for the doors to open. So you're kind of out a lot more, outside a lot longer. And, it's probably okay that you wear not so nice of a jacket over your dress shirt and tie, but
but you do want to be warm if it's cold.
You do want to kind of maybe fit the outfit, so maybe have that nice shirt
That's
for
true.
those occasions, or nice jacket for those occasions. Yeah. Wind breaking things when they're it's cold off the water.
Yeah, last year was our first winter here, and I bought so many coats. So many coats. So. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I would say, which is fine for me because I also tend to like jackets.
Once again, yeah. I think you owned probably, I don't know, at least 20 jackets when we moved here, and now, I had 2.
Now it's 30, so.
So, speaking of jackets, weather obsession is our number 2 on the list.
So the second thing that we wish we know before we moved to Chicago was how obsessed you would become with the weather.
Yeah, the weather app specifically. I look at my weather app constantly. It's something that you check pretty much any time you're going outside. Actually, one of the things that I found most surprising about living in a high-rise condo is that you don't hear the rain. I know that sounds, you're like, well, duh, there's floors above you. Obviously, you don't hear the rain. But it's really weird. It's sometimes you can't even really tell if it's raining outside. You can't always see that if it's actively raining or if it's just kind of a drizzly day. And so I just find myself constantly looking, because when you do go out, you need to be prepared for that. So it's do I need to wear a waterproof coat versus one that maybe isn't? Or do I need to have an umbrella with me? Those kinds of things. And even the temperature. I feel like I have I've sort of learned in my wardrobe what I need for different ranges of temperatures.
Yes.
So I'm constantly looking at the weather, and I never used to do that.
Yeah, it definitely has become, just a habit. Every time that we walk out the door, you're looking at.
Yeah, you're like, what's the temperature?
What's the
what's the wind speed?
Raining. Yeah, the wind speed is a huge thing because we live on the lake. Kind of just always, if it's coming anywhere from the east, it's going
like
to be
natural air
cooler.
Conditioning. Yeah.
So just kind of keep that in mind, and definitely like if you're just coming here to visit or living, it's a big thing. Is the weather will be your number one thing you're kind of like checking and making sure that you're aware of every day. The third thing that we wanted to talk about today is shopping.
Yeah. So something that, we obviously knew this coming here. We don't have a car, so we knew that grocery shopping was going to be a little bit different. We got a collapsible rolling cart. My parents lived here before we did, so we at least had some insight into that, which was nice. So that wasn't so surprising. But I did come from, I think we'd been doing a grocery delivery service for several years. And so actually even just going to the grocery store every week was kind of a new thing for me. And so what I actually found the most surprising is that the grocery stores here are pretty small.
Yeah, they never have everything that you want.
Yeah, so you kind of almost end up going, we sort of have like a place, we like to go to Trader Joe's, so we can get a lot from Trader Joe's. So we kind of go and fill up our cart, maybe weekly at Trader Joe's. And then you still have to be like, oh, but we need to go to Mariano's, which is like a Kroger. You need to go there for some things. I need to get a couple things at Target. Yeah. So you kind of find that you're bouncing around at different stores. And that's something I've really never had to do. So that was kind of a new thing.
But the spin on that, though, is that there are everywhere. We have all three of those within less than a mile from our house. So even though it is kind of inconvenient that we have to go to 3 different places, it is convenient that they're very close. Even with walking, with the cart, you can kind of just go in quickly. Yeah,
I've sort of adapted to like keep a list on my phone of just things that we need. So if we're out and about somewhere and we just happen to be by Mariano's, I can be like, oh, let's pop in and see if we can get whatever.
Yeah, and we always have like little reusable bags on us, so it's like it's not like we have to worry about carrying a bunch of shopping bags home.
Yeah, we're always prepared to carry at least a few things with us.
I will say though, I remember my first time going to Mariano's when we lived here with the grocery cart, and we probably bought a little bit more than we normally buy now. And
you can't load down the cart too much.
The people that were staring at me were so, because we went to the one that's kind of like in the tourist area, because
you had to walk through Millennium Park to come home from that one.
So many people were just kind of like, what are you doing? And like I guess that isn't so such a strange thing to them. It's like the fact that you have to carry,
and it's like people who live here do go grocery shopping.
We have to get groceries somewhere, and we're not gonna intentionally go to one that's in a different neighborhood just so it's farther away, and so it's out of the thoroughfare of tourists. So I thought that was really funny when we lived here.
The first I do remember the stairs.
Yeah, people were like, and I think someone commented, "Oh, you got a lot of groceries there." I'm like, yeah, it's for the week, whatever.
That's funny. And then the other stores that, aside from grocery stores, are like something that kind of surprised me was the sort of not limited availability, but like craft stores, hardware stores, like even pet stores, the kind of more specialty stores aren't necessarily downtown. You kind of think of Chicago as like the shopping area, but it's like, or shopping mecca, but it's like retail, like more like clothing retail and stuff like that. And so like we don't have a Michael's.
Kind of the complete opposite of the grocery stores is all of those stores are kind of farther outside of the downtown
suburbs or
area.
Kind of more the neighborhood areas. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we first moved here, obviously, you're doing a lot of little renovations and small stuff, building shelves.
Right.
And the Home Depot that, was quite a hike.
It's like a 55-minute walk.
It's pretty far. And if you're getting heavy shelves, boarding and stuff, we had to carry it. So more time that people were staring at me and definitely was confused. And it's convenient for me because now I have an excuse where we don't have to do home renovations.
Right. He's like, oh no,
I have to walk all the way. I don't know if I can stop there and get some boards for shelving, or I got rid of all of my tools when we moved here. I have like a hammer and screwdrivers, obviously, but no like power tools.
Yeah, you are living in a high rise. You're really not supposed to do massive renovations yourself anyway. So I think, but we did do a couple of just kind of like closet redos, sort of just to kind of put like some nicer shelving in and stuff. And I remember having to carry
hire
all those shelves. So crazy.
And then like we do have an Ace Hardware that's just around the corner. It's nice for light bulbs and small little
all the things that you'd need.
The big thing that we get there is wall anchors. We hang a lot of pictures and stuff on the walls, so it's nice and convenient. Target is kind of also pretty small, so they don't always have everything that you're looking for. But the Ace Hardware is kind of just around the corner, but they're not going to have the big things. So like if you're wanting to, do normal home renovations or even more home projects, you kind of have to like...
Or if you have a specific brand of paint you like, because I really like Behr paint, which is only sold at Home Depot. Yeah. So in addition to like hardware and craft stores hardware stores and craft stores being a little bit kind of further out, I also struggled to find a pet store. I did eventually find a Petco in River North, so it's not too far away, but I was really used to going to PetSmart, pretty much weekly to get, cat food or dog food or whatever it was I needed. But now I just find that we get everything from Chewy because it's just so much easier than trying to kind of like go out to the store. And again, a lot of the stores downtown are a little smaller and may not have everything you're looking for. So I have found that Chewy Auto Ship has become my best friend living downtown because we just get everything delivered and then I just don't have to worry about it, which makes it really nice.
All right. So the fourth thing that we wish we knew before we moved to Chicago is talking about pets in the city.
Yeah. Chicago is very dog friendly, which is amazing, and we love that because we get to take Weasel lots and lots of places, which is so fun.
Restaurants,
restaurants,
lots of
all
stores.
kinds of parks, of course. Stores. We can take her in just about any store. It's so wonderful.
It's nice also if you don't have your pet but you like pets, you get to kind of just see dogs and everywhere you go.
But when we were buying our condo, one of the things that we neglected to think about was where we would let Weasel out to go potty. Like which is weird because you would think that you would think about that, but we didn't think about it. So maybe we're just naive and everyone else thinks that that's crazy, but we didn't think about it. And it is something you want to think about because depending on where you're living, what kind of, area of we're in the Loop. Obviously you can live in lots of different kind of, neighborhoods within the downtown area, but depending on where you are, you may or may not have a park very close to you and your building may or may not have a dog relief area. So for instance, our building doesn't have a dog relief area, but by happy accident, we have a park across the street.
We live pretty close to Grant Park, and there's a few little small parks surrounding that technically have names, but we learned that as we lived here. So it's nice that we can just kind of go really quickly. Yes. Obviously, there are still a lot of pet places, like pet parks throughout the city.
Lots of dog parks, lots of areas to
but
go.
if you have obviously a larger dog that likes to walk, it's convenient for you because you can go that distance. But Weasel, she's old. We kind of have to use the stroller to get her around. And also too,
it's really hard in the winter months because I think in the summertime it's not as big of a deal because obviously if it's a beautiful day, although time is a consideration, right? Because it can take about 15 to 20 minutes to let her out to go potty versus, if you have a fenced in backyard and you're a single family home and you can just open the back door and kind of let her go out and come back when she's ready. So the time is a consideration. Weather is definitely a consideration because Weasel is old. She's 18 and she's a dachshund, so she does not like the rain. She does not like the cold. She's had it. Persnickety.
So definitely, keep that in mind. Like if you're looking to move here, just, how convenient is it to those areas that you're going to eventually need?
Definitely something to consider when you're looking for sure. Another thing to think about with pets is proximity of vet offices and kennels. So something that, again, we didn't really think about. Now, we don't kennel Weasel because she is older, and we're fortunate that my parents live downtown and they watch her for us. But if we did have a dog that we kenneled, you'd kind of want to consider just how convenient, how close it is. Animals are allowed on public transportation in Chicago when they're in a carrier. So with a larger dog, that could be a little bit cumbersome to do, a little bit harder than it is with a little dog, for instance, but just something to think about, kind of how long is that commute going to be, getting them to and from the vet? Because it's not such a big deal in the summertime when it's a beautiful day, but when it's January and it's like 3 degrees outside, it matters a little bit more. So something to think about.
And if you're, using a pet carrier, also you have to kind of carry it around. So the closer it is, the more convenient that is, and less of a hassle it is.
The weight for sure. Because thinking about that, I mean, it's even like a 10 or a 15 pound dog, that's not super heavy. But after 20 or 25 minutes of carrying, in like an 85-degree sunny day, it feels pretty heavy. All right, so the last thing, number 5 on our list, is just how plugged in we would be to what's happening. That's with the city and with our building. That was definitely a surprise to me because I don't know. I think in other places we've lived, I'd it's not that I don't care what goes on, but I'm not really thinking about kind of what goes on in the city or what's going on around me. And it's something here that really surprised me. I care a lot more about, you know, town hall meetings and board meetings in the building and what's happening and what decisions are being made, because I feel like it affects me a little bit more.
There's, I don't know what it is, something about it that you're like, it's a sense of community. You want to know, like, we have like monthly
social hours and things like that in the building.
To know the people, and you see them a lot more. It's, you know, you see them coming and going, and like, hey, like, you know, and you kind of get to know their dogs, especially.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially the dog owners, you get to know because you see them, because you know, we're all letting our dogs out, and you get on the same routine as people and that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, it really surprised me, because I don't think in the past we've been like overly sociable with our neighbors or overly involved in, again, like what's going on in the neighborhood or what's going on in the community. But it feels just very kind of natural and organic here to be super involved and super plugged in. So I find myself wanting to go and participate in those things a lot more than I did before. Even
like activities around the city, small like events and stuff, like Lit Fest and things that are just down the street for us. Like, I don't know, for me, I found that I want to do them more often here than I did when I lived in Kentucky. I think it's just because, again, that sense of community and knowing your neighbors, it's like there's a draw that you kind of find that you want to go to these things, because it's also convenient, because you can just walk instead of driving.
That's true.
However long, and then finding a parking spot and all of those things that were, you know, kind of annoying. Kind
of barriers to going to. That's really true. I didn't think about that, because even like the Printers Row Farmers Market, you know, we love to go to that. And I remember we had farmers markets kind of near us when we lived in Burlington, for instance, and we never went. And we always were like, we should go to that. And then we never did. But I find ourselves doing that stuff a lot more here, which is really nice. We get out and about a lot, which is good. So those are a few things that surprised us, or, you know, we kind of learned after we moved here. We'd like to know in the comments, what are some of the things that we talked about that surprised you? Was there anything that you were like, oh, I wouldn't have thought about that? We'd love to hear from you. Thank you so much for watching. We're excited to share our experiences living in Chicago with you here on this platform.
And if you liked this video, you can always give it a thumbs up, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more content for what it's like living in here, downtown Chicago.